There's a reason why you're feeling unfulfilled, and it has absolutely nothing to do with your mindset. Hello. Welcome to the Business of Happiness podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Tarryn MacCarthy, and today is going to be a great day. Welcome. I am speaking specifically to you if you are a woman in dentistry feeling wholly unfulfilled, like you've done all these things that you thought you were supposed to do, and you're still not feeling fulfilled. And what's so interesting is so often we tell ourselves, I just need a better mindset. I just need to show up to this marriage with a better mindset. I just need to show up to work with a better mindset. That's the buzzword, right? That's the buzzword right now, mindset. If I could just get my mindset straight, then everything will be fine. Then I'll just be happy with what I have, because look at what I have. I have so much to be grateful for. I should be so happy. Is this ringing a bell? Is this sounding familiar? Today, I'm going to share with you the three reasons, the top three reasons that held me back from asking for more in my life. That really every time I had that little suspicion that, Tarryn, you are meant for more than this. When I had this feeling like I'm just not fulfilled and there's something missing, that kept me back in that loop of something's wrong with me. It's my mindset. There's something broken in me. I don't have the right attitude. And I believe these three things were the three that held me back. And I'm sharing them with you here today because I wonder if it's not the same for you. And the third one, you'll realize, I believe, is unique to dentistry. So I'm excited to share that one with you because I think it's something that we often overlook. I remember feeling this way. Like, I had everything, guys. I had built up a practice. I was finally practicing, owning a practice, treating patients with, orthodontics, doing the best level care, like really proud of my orthodontics, proud of the work I was doing, and, had everything, my husband and my fancy house and my kids, and I had everything really going for me, and money in the bank. And every day I felt so unfulfilled. And I was like searching for so many things outside of me to make me feel better. I was definitely pushing through the work week just to get that out of the way because I thought I could finally live on the weekends. And I started decreasing my number of days, not because it's what I wanted, but it's because it's how I needed to survive. I was just exhausted all the time. And I was looking for things outside of me. I was buying things and then they were unfulfilling. I was drinking a lot just to escape at night. And then I'd get up in the morning and beat myself up over that. I was running triathlons and marathons trying to make my body feel better. I was just looking for, how can I feel fulfilled? What is missing in my life? And for those of you who don't know, I'm from South Africa originally. And I would go back to South Africa, which, was much less, at least at the time, culturally less materialistic, where literally people were preserving water because in South Africa, there's high drought risk all the time. And now currently in South Africa, they're literally preserving electricity because there's not electricity for everybody to go around. And they were eating more simply and living on fewer clothes. And I'd go back to South Africa and I'd think to myself, Tarryn, you have so much wealth. You have so much freedom. You have so much opportunity. Why are you feeling so unfulfilled? What is wrong with you? I just used to beat myself up. I'd come back and be like, oh my gosh, you have so much. Why don't you just feel satisfied with what you've got? Go to work and be so happy. And, that's when I really started with mindset work. I was like, okay, what is the mindset I need to wrap myself around here so that I could actually show up and go to work and be happy? But there were three things standing in my way. Every time I felt this deep I don't know, knowing, whisper, I don't know what you want to call it, this kind of intuitive hit like, Tarryn, you are meant for more. You are meant for more. I would wake up thinking about that and it just wouldn't go away. Because what I would learn is that the reason why I was feeling unfulfilled had nothing to do with mindset. Nothing. So there are three things, and they all add up to this beautiful thread. And I'm excited. At the end, I want to ask you if you noticed the thread, because the thread is where the magic is. But these three components for me are what stood in my way. Number one, I had this deep feeling that I wasn't good enough. Whatever your more is. And actually, I couldn't even articulate what more was. I think I was so wrapped up in feeling bad about myself and beating myself up for wanting something more than what my life was, that I couldn't even be creative or listen to myself long enough because I felt so bad about wanting more, feeling like I was meant for more. And the first reason why I wouldn't take that brave step of saying, okay, I acknowledge, universe, thank you for telling me. I'm listening. I am here. I am meant for more. The first reason why I didn't take that step forward, just to give myself permission to even start exploring what more was this deep feeling of I wasn't good enough. And I know I'm not alone in that. For me, what good enough, being good enough looked like is I wasn't smart enough. Here I was, a freaking dentist, guys, an orthodontist, and I'd done really, really well in school. And my whole life but I would tell myself, I'm not really smart enough for more. I've done all this. I gave credit to all my professors, who I still do. My gosh, they were amazing. But I never gave myself that credit for being smart enough. I told myself I wasn't pretty enough. Like that would earn me some right for more. I told myself I wasn't thin enough. So one of the things that I eventually figured out, by the way, was that I was meant for more impact and presence. So standing on big stages has always been a dream of mine ever since I was little, when I was 8 years old, performing in South Africa's version of Broadway in The King and I. That was my passion my whole life. But for some reason, my body image got in the way. Tarryn, you're not thin enough to stand in front of big audiences. You're not thin enough to be respected. I thought I wasn't strong enough, capable enough. I told myself I wasn't wealthy enough. I didn't have the reserves. I told myself I wasn't a good enough leader. All of these not enoughness were literally the obstacle to me actually saying, you know what, I'm meant for more. Not taking action on my dreams. And if we take a moment just to look at this not enoughness, just for a moment, and I love sharing with you my story because it's so easy to see when it's outside of you, and it's so difficult when you're in it, right? That story you have about yourself that you're not enough, man, you feel like that is true. But just for a moment, recognize where all my not enough stories came from and where yours come from too. They come from your childhood, from people around you telling you you're not enough, or what social media and society has told you is not enough. Or there are things that happened that had nothing to do with you, that your little girl mind, your little girl heart, your little girl consciousness made meaning out of it about you. So that one teacher that once said, oh, you're not smart enough for this, or implied it in some way, she was just having a bad day. Or she thought she was helping you. Oh my gosh, this happened recently. A sweet, sweet girl, friend of mine, she's graduating from high school, going into college. And a couple months ago, she got into the college of her dreams. Amazing. It was her biggest dream in her 17-year-old world to go to this college for performance. And she got in. And she didn't get enough money in the scholarship for her family to be able to afford going. So she was so upset. She felt like she'd worked so hard her whole life, and here was this opportunity. She couldn't take action on her dreams. And would you believe that her guidance counselor said, let's maybe not dream that high. Let's rather look at these other schools and see how you could, I know you got in there, but finding that much money in scholarships is really not possible. So let's rather look at these other schools and what we can enjoy about these that you did get into. Let's settle. That guidance counselor, my heart goes to her because all she was doing was trying to support her out of love. But in that moment, she squashed her dreams. That's maybe all that happened to you. That's what happened to me in my life. People around me were loving me, saying things to me, thinking that I needed to be more realistic because they had experienced their own traumas. They had experienced their own fears, their own setbacks and failures, and they were just trying to protect me from mine. So they were telling me or inferring that maybe I should consider something else. This idea that we're protecting our youth when we're encouraging them to settle is one of the most poisonous parts of our culture. You should be so happy with what you've got. And I believe that that is a big part of what held me back from saying yes to more in my life, from not taking action for decades. Do you see that it had never had anything to do with me, and it never had anything to do with you? These were just other influences in your life, either telling you directly that you weren't good enough or trying to protect you, to say, don't dream so high. That was the first thing. Realizing that was just an assumption that I was not good enough, that I was so naive. And that, guys, held me back for a long time, for saying, you know what? There's a calling in me that knows I'm meant for more. And just saying yes to that calling already allows for some clarity, like just giving yourself permission, you are good enough, because there is only one truth. You already are. You don't need to be any different. Your skin color doesn't need to be different. Your height doesn't need to be different. Your intelligence doesn't need to be different. Your weight doesn't need to be different. You are good enough. So brilliantly good enough. That was the first obstacle that stood in my way. And yes, it took me a while to give myself that permission to be good enough. And to be honest with you, I work on it every single day. It's actually, I'm going to take a pause for a moment. One of the things we talk about in Radical Happiness, which is my 9-week program, transformational program for women in dentistry. And yes, this summer, I'm launching a 9-week transformational radical happiness program for men as well. So yes, we all need this. We all need this healing. And if you want to get a little taste of what that's like, I'm actually holding a 3-day workshop this coming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, June 3rd, 4th, and 5th for free. It's called Meant for More. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh my gosh, she's speaking to me, I'm meant for more, be sure to sign up for that workshop. It's totally free. It is incredible. You will have some massive shifts just in 3 days, I promise. And it comes with a really juicy workbook that helps you go through the work on your own. And there are recordings if you can't make it to one of the live sessions, but I highly encourage you to do so. So by the way, just to let you know so that you can go ahead and register for that, go ahead, hit pause if you can, and go to www.meant4more.life. Meant4more.life. So MEANT 4 MORE.life, and get signed up, please, because I want to share with you how to how to transform these 3 limitations. Okay, back to the work. The second component that held me back from saying yes, from acknowledging, giving myself permission to be meant for more, even though it had been screaming in me for decades, was labels and expectations. And what are those? Literally, the success I had achieved was what was holding me back. Literally. So what I realized was we carry with us all these labels, these accolades that we've attached to ourselves that feel good at the time, but can literally prevent us from saying yes to more, from recognizing we're meant for more. We think they're the things that give us confidence, and they can. We think they're the things that give us motivation, and they can. And they can also be the exact components of what are holding us back from saying yes to more. Here's an example. Doctor. Literally, that label of doctor held me back. Because when I thought, oh my gosh, I have so much more to share from stage, one-on-one, with my clients, with groups, transforming doctors and dentists and giving them back their lives. I thought, oh my gosh, who am I? Because I'm a doctor. I'm not a therapist yet. But that label of doctor is what held me back. Tarryn, you've achieved this. You're a doctor. You're an orthodontist. Orthodontist straightens teeth. She doesn't transform people's lives from a stage. That label literally kept me back. The label of mom kept me back, held me back. I thought, oh my gosh, a good mom does XYZ. By the way, that label held me back from starting my second practice, which I loved. My second orthodontic practice, that label of mom held me back for a long time from a scratch start of my practice, because I kept telling myself, what mom goes out and starts a practice and knows it's going to take so much of her time and is going to leave her kids at home? If I want to be a good mom, I should XYZ. That label literally kept me stuck, kept me from acknowledging that I was meant for more. Other labels that have trapped me from saying yes to more were, I'm too masculine. That was a label I had to really come to terms with a long time ago, when I realized I was meant for more in terms of leadership of my team. When being a leader didn't feel fulfilling, and I realized I kept getting these signals that I was actually meant for being a better leader, from standing up in my leadership and really guiding my team the way that I knew they deserved and my practice deserved and my patients deserved. That label of I'm too masculine, oh my God, totally held me back. So labels are things that other people put on us for sure, just like those labels of not being good enough. We can even call that a label. But labels are also possibly things that we put on ourselves. This is who I am. We declare a limitation. Isn't that so fascinating? The moment we put a label on ourselves, we limit ourselves. Done. Every single time. Every single time. So that was another way. And by the way, this is a big component of the workshop, the Meant for More workshop, is how to strip away those labels. So if you're recognizing, oh, wait a minute, I'm really noticing right now that labels are exactly what are holding me back, then let me support you as well. But also know it's possible. It's possible to let go of those labels. The first step is what we're doing right here, right now, which is awareness. Just being aware of it. Isn't that something? And other labels that I've heard people say is like shy. I'm too shy. And isn't that so fascinating? Because that's another one of those labels that other people have put on you, that you just kind of became your personality, became who you are. That's the frustrating thing about labels is we make it about us and who we are. I am. And let me tell you how powerful that statement is, because in that statement, you can either absolutely limit yourself or absolutely liberate yourself. Now, here's the third thing. And I promise you, the third thing is what I think is unique. Probably other fields as well, but definitely the component that we don't realize in dentistry. The biggest reason why I was so afraid to step into meant for more is to knowing that I was meant for more was that more in my mind and my heart, actually in my body, represented more work, more effort. And I was exhausted. Dentistry had shown me that in order to receive more, experience more, you had to do more. That was the thought pattern in my head. That if I dared to think that I could be more or that I was meant for more, bigger things, hold more things, experience more incredible things, it meant I would have to do more. And I was already doing so much that I was exhausted. Like I didn't have the energy. So I'd have this thought like, oh, Tarryn, you're meant for more. And immediately my body would go, you're exhausted. Get back into bed. You're exhausted. Just show up and put one foot in front of the other. You're exhausted. Just do the thing. Just be so happy with what you've got. Literally, guys, my body would just literally feel exhausted. And what I'd start to do is try to look for more energy. Like, I need to find motivation, I'd tell myself. I want to write this book. I know that I'm meant for more. I know, but I need motivation. It wasn't motivation. It was I was exhausted because I literally thought that more meant more work. Guess what? Here's the secret. If out of everything that you've listened to on my whole podcast, if you've listened to multiple episodes, please know this. More requires less. That is it. It's receiving more, experiencing more, feeling more fulfilled actually requires doing less. And the exact opposite happened when I started acknowledging that I was meant for more. I suddenly felt more energized. Immediately, I hadn't changed anything. I just said, oh my God, yes, I'm meant for more. And immediately I was flooded with energy because it's the exact opposite when you finally say yes to you. And let me tell you, in growing this beautiful big more that I have, multi-million-dollar business with living out my dreams, standing on enormous stages, doing my more, it literally requires me actively doing less every single day. That's my priority every single day. Boom. That's the truth. Less efforting. The moment I start efforting, the moment I resort back to my old pattern behavior of frantic frenzy, and just do, I know immediately that I need to stop because I am undermining my ability for more. I am undermining my ability to hold such a big, beautiful dream. Undermining my ability when I'm doing too much. And man, that's a difficult one. That one took me a decade, maybe more. To undo. And I'm still, if I'm honest with you, I'm still every day practicing undoing that learned pattern behavior of in order to receive more, you have to do more. Every single day, I have to remind myself it's the opposite. And you know, I wonder if you've noticed the thread of each of these three components, not enoughness, the labels, and the idea that being meant for more or saying yes to more means more work, and that sense in your body that's draining, that it's more that felt sense of exhaustion. right? That doesn't even allow you to say yes to the next thing. The thread that I realized was through all of these is that every single one of these was pulling me away from me. It turns out the meant for more journey is a recovering of self. It's a coming home. Every one of these pieces are pieces in your life that have pulled you away from who you are. The not enoughness, which was always a lie. The labels and limitations because you attached to them as something outside of you. And the efforting and overdoing, overworking, and literally sacrificing yourself. Oh, isn't that amazing? So of course, it makes so much sense that there's a whisper, if not a scream inside of you saying, you're meant for more than this, despite all the evidence all around you that you should, I'm putting air quotes, be just so happy with, you should settle for. Anyone else in their right mind would be so lucky. It's not about your mindset. It's about a returning home to you. And you will never feel fulfilled until you fill your heart with you. Because every step of the way has been a disconnection from you. So, listening to this now, if you're having this aha moment, you're thinking, oh my God, yes, this journey is a coming home. I'd love for you to ask yourself these 3 questions, just to start you off on that journey. Number 1, what happened to you that ever made you feel like you were not enough? Not enough for your dreams. What happened to you, and can you see that it never had anything to do with you? When you can identify just one, and you don't need to go into years of therapy for this, but if you could just identify one, oh my gosh, yes, it was that one teacher. Yes, it was that one aunt. Yes, it was that one kid in 4th grade who said XYZ, and I made that mean that I wasn't good enough. Just that one little instant of realization. Let that represent everything that you've ever felt not good enough about yourself. So what is it? What happened to you that ever made you feel not good enough for your dreams? The second question to you, what labels are currently keeping you prisoner? What are they? What labels have you attached to yourself that are preventing you from saying yes to your dreams? And who would you be without those labels? If you could just drop that label, who would you be? Definitely. If this, you got to come next week, by the way, because we're going to be doing this in real time and I'm going to support you even more. Remember, www.ment4more.life. See you there. Okay. I just know you'll be there. And number 3, can you allow yourself to just be open to the idea that more actually requires less? That doing more, efforting more, trying to squeeze more into a day is actually what has kept you from yourself. And that this whole meant for more journey is about a coming home, realizing who you are. And just to alleviate your fears right now, it does not mean you need to burn down the house. It does not mean you need to throw everything away. It doesn't mean you need to upend your career or leave your marriage. There's actually a beautiful growing in that too. And I cannot wait to share that with you as well. But for the purposes of this episode, the reason your heart is calling you for more is because it's calling you back to you. And when you feel and find that, it feels so good. It feels so good. And that's how you know your back to you is when you finally feel good. And when you feel good, that, my friend, is when you can do good. Bye-bye. Hey, beauty, if you enjoyed this episode, then like and subscribe to the show and receive this beautiful message of empowerment, remembering what you are capable of and the purpose you serve in this world every single week. And if you know of a colleague who needs this message, share this episode with her. This is how we raise the collective in healthcare, reminding one another and supporting one another. Community is the answer. This is how we grow it. And lastly, I invite you to a phenomenal in-person event this October 2024, the Empower Her Retreat, exclusively for women in medicine and dentistry on the beach. It will change your life. And I cannot wait to see you there. Check out the details in the show notes and have a phenomenal day remembering that you are enough.